Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are tackling a tool that is so simple but honestly unbelievably powerful for finding and crushing hidden waste in pretty much any process. So if you're looking to make things run smoother and faster, you are in exactly the right place. Let's jump right in. I mean, really think about that. The stuff that's really slowing us down, it's usually not the big, obvious train wrecks. Nope, it's the little things. The wasted steps, the extra trips back and forth, the chaotic paths our people and products take all day long. You can't see it, but trust me, the cost is absolutely real. So here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to expose that hidden cost of movement. Then, I'll introduce you to the tool that makes it all visible, the spaghetti diagram. We'll get into exactly why and when you should use it, and I'll give you a complete step-by-step playbook. We'll even walk through a real-world case study and wrap up with the essential rules for success. A nice, clean journey from problem to solution. Okay, so let's get to the root of the problem here. When a workflow isn't standardized or the physical layout just isn't optimized, people and parts end up traveling way more than they need to. All that extra movement adds up to lost time and wasted energy that just quietly eats away at your productivity. And the crazy part is, it almost never gets measured. This is the perfect way to frame it. It's like a hidden tax on everything you do. Every extra step someone takes to find a tool, every detour a product makes on the line. It's a small tax on your efficiency. And over time, it drains your resources, your time, and your bottom line. The very first step to getting rid of that tax is to actually see it. And that brings us right to the solution. So how in the world do we see this invisible waste? Well, we use a tool designed for this exact purpose, the spaghetti diagram. And listen, don't let the name fool you, okay? It might sound a little silly, but its power is dead serious. So here's what it is in a nutshell. A spaghetti diagram is basically a visual map. You literally follow a person or a product or even a document, and you trace its entire path from the start of a process to the very end. And why the name? Because when a process is really inefficient, the final drawing with all its tangled, overlapping lines it looks exactly like a messy plate of spaghetti. It's the perfect picture of chaos. Okay, now we know what it is. Let's talk strategy. When is the right moment to use this thing? This isn't a tool for every single problem. It's about surgically targeting very specific kinds of waste to get the biggest possible gains in efficiency. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This tool is a sharpshooter. If you're familiar with lean principles, you know about the 7 deadly wastes. Well, this diagram directly attacks 2 of the biggest ones: unnecessary transportation of stuff and unnecessary motion of people. It is perfect for getting that initial, honest look at your current process, for spotting where things get stuck, and it works like a charm in fixed environments. Think offices, labs, or assembly lines, where people are doing similar tasks again and again. All right, time to get practical. This is the how-to part of our journey. We're going to break this down into 2 very clear phases. First, how you actually make the diagram, and second, how you use that diagram to drive real, tangible improvements. Phase 1 is all about observation and data gathering. First up, you pick the process you want to fix. Then, you grab a floor plan, some markers, a stopwatch, and this is crucial, you get the team who actually does the work involved. You sketch out the workspace to scale. And then comes the fun part. You literally follow someone from start to finish, drawing one single unbroken line that tracks their every move. As you go, you're measuring both the distance and the time it takes. Pro tip, use different colored pens for different people or different products. It makes the final map so much easier to read. And now, phase 2. This is where you turn that messy drawing into meaningful action. You and your team look at that plate of spaghetti. Where are the longest journeys? Where are the traffic jams and bottlenecks? Then you brainstorm together how to fix it, often by rearranging the layout into a super efficient U or C shape. You can test out the new flow, make tweaks, and then, and this is the part that gets everyone's attention, you calculate the actual dollars saved and show management the proof. Theory is one thing, but seeing this tool work in the real world is another. So let's look at a quick case study of how a spaghetti diagram literally transformed a process from total chaos to crystal clarity. So the business problem was simple, and it was painful. They couldn't get their car batteries to dealers on time. It was a huge issue. So a team on the ground decided to map out the entire production process to figure out exactly where the holdups were. And wow, the results were night and day. The before diagram was a textbook example of spaghetti, just a tangled mess of lines crisscrossing the factory floor, with huge bottlenecks where things just sat and waited. But after they analyzed that map and redesigned the layout into a simple U shape, the afterstate was incredible. Total distance traveled was slashed. Total time was cut dramatically. It became a clean, efficient, continuous flow. That right there is the power of making the invisible visible. So now you're probably thinking about trying this yourself. And to make sure you get results like that case study, there are just a few simple but essential rules to follow. Think of these as your guardrails to make sure your analysis is accurate and effective. Let's run through these quickly. On the do side, you absolutely must engage the people doing the work. They are the experts, period. Do measure both time and distance to get the full story. And please do get management's blessing first. Now for the don'ts. Don't draw lines through walls or machines. Keep it real. Don't skip any steps in the process, but also don't include personal stuff like trips to the restroom. And a really important one, don't assume your first drawing is the final answer. Improvement is a cycle. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you've seen just how powerful this simple piece of paper and a pen can be, what about your world, your office, your workshop, your team? What tangled process, what hidden inefficiency could you finally make visible and finally fix just by starting to draw that first line tomorrow?